Hello guys, Sendou here again. So today we're gonna talk a bit about the abilities in this game. So of course abilities in Splatoon is one of those things that sets it apart from some other games. Say something like Overwatch, when you're choosing your gear, it's just about cosmetics. In Splatoon you also have to consider the abilities as well. And yeah, it's always a source of arguments about what you should be running and how much. But this way this can just bring my take on the table. And the question I'm gonna propose is, why isn't my blaster board looking something like this? Quick respawn is strong frontliners, I say it many times, so why don't just go all the way and go all quick respawn? So what is the reason behind this? And I think it really is as simple as looking at this chart here. This is from Splatoon wiki, which is very useful research. I don't know if it's exactly correct, but still the principle is the same. So why is this not a straight line? It's like curving along the line here. So what we have here, ability points on the bottom, and then it's a bit blocked by the webcam, but respawn time on the y-axis here. So you see the line curving on this. So what this basically means, if this is too hard to understand, is that each time you add more of quick respawn, the less the ability is. So the first 3 subs is always the most impactful, then the next 3 subs is a bit less impactful, the next 3 subs from that is even less impactful, and so on, so on, so on. So like, each time you add more quick respawn, the lesser the effect is compared to the previous amount you just put. And this is kind of like the basis of why I don't think it's a good idea to stack too much of any single ability. For example, say this beautiful build I have here. I do like my quick respawn, I really do, but it just makes no sense to put this much. Just, if I think about this situation, even if I started putting more quick respawn from here, we would get a situation where I'm basically getting nothing out of it. Like, yeah, I'm saving some frames each respawn, but the amount is so minimal that it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, indeed my blaster build has a bit of more abilities than that, and it's often for me, like for quick respawn builds, what I like is having somewhere around 2 mains, and that is personally for me, that is some kind of limit in my mind, which is probably not exact or something that you should follow to the letter. But for me, I always try to put at most 2 mains normally of any single ability, just because of the thing I just showed you. Like, it just doesn't make sense to stack too much, when in fact you get the most use out of the abilities at the beginning of the curve. So here I have 1 special saver. Why is just 1 special saver? The amount is so minimal, right? But the reason for that is simply because that 1 sub is so impactful in itself. And it's just 1 sub, like, it's only taking 1 slot. That's what you have to consider. That, okay, I'm taking 2 quick super jump. That is not a big effect by any means. Most games it doesn't matter. But it's just 2 subs, and when it matters it can save 1 life, so it is pretty impactful in the end. So when people say, yo Sendou, why are you running 1 main of swim speed? Why not 2 subs? 2 subs is optimal. And then if I ask them why is 2 subs optimal, often they say stuff like, well, it's just so noticeable from going from no sub, yeah, or something like this. But then again, why not 1 sub? Why 2 subs? Why did we go from 1 sub to 2 subs? That's often a question that's harder to answer. And that's basically my own philosophy with putting the abilities on gear, is just to try to spread it out a bit. Because, you know, okay, say I have I have 1 sub. Like, I'm trying to repeat these points, but it's really hard to bring this point across. I've tried to explain this so many times on stream, but it's really hard. So 1 sub versus 2 subs. Say I'm only using 1 sub. Yes, it's less than 2 subs, obviously, but it's also taking 1 slot less. But at the same time, that 1 sub is more impactful than adding the 2nd sub. So of course together those 2 subs are more than 1 sub, but on average the 1 sub is more than 2 subs. Does it make sense? So instead of putting 2 subs, I could maybe just hypothetical, like this is not like not any real like just weapon axe, like any weapon, doesn't matter. So instead of that 1 sub, I could put some other sub. And that is, for me, I think in Splatoon you want to spread out the abilities a bit. Because of this, you can have even like multiple 1 sub things. It's not even that bad, as long as it makes lots of sense. So for some of this video, you shouldn't take away that, okay, let's just put 1 ability of each, like Sendou told me, so let's put some cold-blooded and stuff. No, no, no. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about spreading out among all the useful abilities, because most weapons have variety of useful abilities. This also doesn't mean that you can just neglect some more useful abilities, as say quick respawn for frontliners. No, that doesn't mean that either. But what it does mean is that I think after a while it's better to just go in a different direction than just stacking a huge amount of 1 ability, right? That's why I don't believe personally that, you know, stacking like 3 mains or 4 mains of quick respawn makes sense. Just because of when you're stacking that much, it just isn't really impactful, is it? I mean, for sure, in some situations, even stacking it makes sense, because even a little bit faster quick respawn is just so much better than anything else you can have. But I don't think like currently the game is in a state where that really holds true. In Splatoon 1, that was actually quick respawn was so strong, so indeed stacking it all the way made sense. Because even just saving couple frames was so impactful in the end, because you're saving couple frames every time you die, so it's so much more impactful than that you are a bit faster swimmer or whatever. So, just to sum it up the video, my point here is that there is no optimal amount of gear that you can have, no optimal ability amount. If someone says, yo, run 2 subs of quick respawn or whatever, you know, just run 2 subs of swim speed, that's optimal? No, it's not optimal. Optimal would be to run 1 sub of each ability, but that reverts back to not being optimal because not all of the abilities are useful. Say if I'm Ember, then sub power ability doesn't do much to me, or cold-blooded or stuff like this. So there isn't enough abilities to spread it all the way, and frontliners do need that quick response, for example, so sometimes you need to stack. But don't overlook just having 1 ability, because it is the most useful ability. So that is the point I'm trying to make with this video. But yeah, thanks for watching as always, and see you guys next week with another video like this.